Bear with me 1 second, Israel. All right. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Thumb. Yahweh Shemar Thumb Bashim Yahushua. I'm Priest and Officer of 1,000, Yediah. This is the Thursday night history class. Tonight, we're going to go over some history. Tonight, we're going to go over a famous figure, you know what I mean, the Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Martin Luther King. A lot of our people have admiration for Martin Luther King, citing him as, according, to the oppressor, you know what I mean, and any Negro out there or Hispanic not knowing no better that he was a great man. We have to understand, man, that men like Martin Luther King were traitors. Like MLK was a traitor, born Michael Luther King. His name changed, you know what I mean, from Michael to Martin. Shalom, by Yahweh Shabbat. His name changed, you know what I mean, from Michael to Martin because his father changed his name and his son's name, you know what I mean, from Michael to Martin after, you know what I mean, the devil evangelical Martin Luther. You have to understand, man, that first of all, Martin Luther King's philosophy was wrong. It was wrong. First of all, the Most High God, our God, the God of blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, is not for integration. He's not for integration. The Lord is not for everybody being together, all kumbaya. And I can show it to you according, you know what I mean, to the Bible. And if I could, Bible, you get a chance, Bubba, for sure if you stand. And I get Leviticus 20 and verse 26. Now, again, this is the history class. If y'all have any questions, make sure you type your questions in. I'll be answering your questions tonight. But yeah, I'm going to show you in the Bible that God is not for integration, for everybody being together. To show you, man, God does not love everybody. Like we've been taught this, you know what I mean, outrageous lie for far too long that we're supposed to be integrated into the oppressive society and live, you know what I mean, together, all kumbaya. And that's a lie. And I'm going to show it to you in the Bible. So when you get a chance, please let me get Leviticus 20 and verse 26.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 26.
Hey, boys, I got a Bible.
And ye shall be holy unto me.
The Lord said, ye shall be holy unto me. Now, when you think holy, right? Holy is not your silly grandmama auntie with the crazy feathered hat on in church. When you look holy up, you know what I mean, in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary or in the Zondervan Van Pictorial Bible Dictionary or, you know what I mean, Compact Bible Dictionary, guess what? Holy means separate, set apart. That's what holy means. To water, priest. I appreciate it. Oh, Slock, can you adjust the camera for me? Yeah, adjust it for me, pull it back a little bit. Holy is not what you think it is. Holy is to be separate. The Lord is saying, for thou art a separate people. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Read on.
Oh God. For I, the Lord, am holy.
For I, the Lord, am holy. Because the Lord is holy. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. The Most High is separate. Meaning he ain't the God of everybody. He's separate. He's saying, for I, the Lord, am separate. Because guess what, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman? God does not love everybody. He does not love everybody. The Lord is telling the Israelites, man, blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, that we should be separate, man.
Right.
Read on.
Oh God. And have severed you from other people.
What does it mean who have severed you from other people? What does that mean? What does it mean where it says that have severed you from other people? I'll explain it to you. When the Lord said that he severed us from other people, meaning he took us, right? And said, you know what, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, you're going to be mine. If I was to sever my arm from my body, it's no longer attached. Meaning the Lord saw us in the mix of these other nations and said, you know what, black, Latino, First Nation man and woman, you're going to be separate unto me. I'm going to sever you from other people. Why? Read on.
Come. That ye should be mine.
That ye should be mine. Meaning we belong to the Most High, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. We don't belong to the oppressor. We don't belong to these other nations. The Lord said that ye shall be mine, which is heavy. Our God loved us so much that he said, guess what, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman? I'm going to sever you from the oppressor. I'm going to sever you from these heathen nations, that ye shall be mine, because we belong to the Most High. Listen, brother, you know what I mean? Young man DeVell making a good point. You know what I mean? He's saying brothers in the world making quotes like Rosa sat down so Martin could walk and Obama could run, which is insane, man. Which is insane, Barzal, because we got to understand this. We have to understand this, black man, Latino man, and woman. First of all, the entire civil rights movement, man, destroyed our people. Right. No blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians benefited from it. We didn't benefit from it. But the Asians did, the Africans did, you for sure, the so-called Jew did. But as blacks and Latinos, we did not benefit from it. We didn't. All we did was get destroyed in the process so Michael Luther King, a.k.a. Martin Luther King, could sleep with white whores. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Martin Luther King was a sexual deviant as well, man. I got to be careful who y'all exalt. Who you trying to put up there and say, you know what I mean? Who is the leader of blacks and Latinos and Native American Indians? Understand this, man. Men like Martin Luther King have failed our people. Right. He failed. Right. Same thing with Malcolm X. The same thing, you know what I mean, with your pastor and your imam in the Nation of Islam. They failed our people. And it's essential for us to come back to this truth, man, to understand that we are the Israelites of antiquity, that we are the real Jews, man. That's what we have to realize. And another thing, too, MLK even said it. Martin Luther King said it himself, that he feared that he was integrating his people into a burning house. What was that burning house? The burning house is America, trying to integrate us with this beast when this beast doesn't give a damn about us. Let me get Proverbs 3 and verse 31. Oh, God. Proverbs 3 and verse 31. Because here's the thing, man. This is the problem. We think, you know what I mean, that everything is all good, that we can live like the oppressor, that we can be free, white, and 21, all because MLK said it was all right, you know what I mean, for us to integrate. And what did integration do? What did it do? We used to have our own, you know what I mean, schools. We had our own communities, man. We did. But what happened? What happened to that? What happened to our schools? What happened, you know what I mean, to our hospitals, our cities? We don't have them no more. You want to know why? Because men like Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement destroyed us. Now you think things got better. There was a time where we had our own communities to ourselves, our own schools, our own restaurants. Our economy was booming. But what do we have now, Ibad? Nothing. Right. All because we envied the oppressor. Now, I'm about to share a screen. I'm about to share, you know what I mean, something to the screen so everybody can see. If I could have bought the remote down there, I'm gonna put it on the big screen too. Yeah, let me get the remote over show. Yeah, let me get that on show. I can put this up there so y'all can see as well. But first, can you read for me Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 31?
God. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor.
Envy thou not the oppressor. Meaning, don't envy the oppressor. Don't envy the white man. Why? Read on.
And choose none of his ways.
And choose none of his ways. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. This is the problem, you know what I mean, that MLK had. He envied the oppressor. Right. He wanted what the oppressor had. He wanted to be, you know what I mean, with the oppressor's woman. A lot of you don't understand this. Before he got with Coretta Scott King, he had a white girl. Martin Luther King had the oppressor's daughter. He loved them heathen women, man. But we have to understand is, man, we can't do that. We cannot envy what the oppressor has. We can't look at what the oppressor has and say, oh man, I got to get it how I can get it. I got to live like that. Like I said, man, you're not free, white, and 21. This is not something that we can do as Blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. It says, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. Meaning, choose none of his ways. We can't live like him. We can't choose the way. And let me explain something to you. To show you that we can't choose any of his ways, right? To show it. How does the oppressor do things? The scriptures say, you know what I mean, that we are two manner of people. Shalom. So y'all about to Hey, Salaki, so you went to class? Come. The scriptures say that we are two manner of people, two different manner of people, Jacob and Esau. First of all, the oppressor is an evil, wicked bastard by nature. He is. He is an evil bastard by nature. There has never been a greater thief, you know what I mean, a greater, sexual deviant, fornicator, and murderer. We can't live like him. We can't live like the oppressor. We can't do that. But you got men like Martin Luther King that says it's all right. And you want to know why he said it was all right? The real reason why, I'm going to show you. I'm going to share this image, you know what I mean, so the class can see. I'm going to put it up on the big screen. This is why. This is what happens when you envy your oppressor. Just as happy as can be, let me put it on the TV screen so you can see it, and the class online can see it. Look at that. Just as happy as can be next to Esau and next to Moab, man. And that's the problem. This is you envying the oppressor. You wanting to be like the oppressor. The oppressor tells you that it's all right to be a homosexual. The oppressor tells you it's all right to intermarry, to marry, you know what I mean, women that's not of our nation, of our race. And that's an abomination according to our God, man.
Right.
That's why the Lord said this. Read it again from the top iPod again.
Oh God, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, and verse 31.
Mm-hmm.
Envy thou not the oppressor.
Envy thou not the oppressor. Martin even said it. He said the only which is what we got to realize, man. This is what we have to realize, man, how we were lied to. The man even said that he was, you know what I mean, that he was integrating his people into a burning house. He knew America was burning. Right. He knew America was falling. But it's that lust. You mean to tell me your lust for white whores is greater than the love for our people? And then you got people saying that, oh, he was a great man. He did this, he did that. Listen, understand this, man. What kind of brother? They go to show you that not every brother was down with this. To have our people go out there and just sit into white establishments, you know what I mean, ran by the oppressor, to get beat on, to get spit on, to have our brothers and our sisters get abused, man. To go out there and lead these marches and have, you know what I mean, and just stand there while the oppressor six their dogs on us, man, and them vicious German shepherds, man, and what they did, you know what I mean, to all poor brothers and sisters during that time, man, biting them in their private areas and their breasts and their chest and their face, man. Right. What kind of man can stand for that? That'd be cool with that. And be like, oh, turn the other cheek. What he did not understand, what Martin Luther King did not understand, you know what I mean, saying that we have to turn the other cheek. Christ was talking about that with our own people, with our brothers. Meaning, forgive your brother, forgive your sister. He didn't understand that because he envied the oppressor. And the Lord said, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. That's the problem, man. We done got comfortable here, you know what I mean, in America. We done forgotten who we are as Blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women. We don't even understand our own identity. And he was supposed to be a doctor, and a minister. But did you know that he know that the Jews are black? That the Israelites of antiquity is that Black, Latino, and First Nation men and women? That did not matter to him. Right. Because he wanted to go out there and lay with the oppressor's daughter. If I could, let me go Deuteronomy 7:3. Because some of y'all, you know what I mean, probably thinking, what's wrong with that? Where does that say that in the Bible? Let's go into it. We're not supposed to intermarry, man. You're not. Leave the oppressor's daughter alone. Brother, leave, you know what I mean, Esau's daughter alone. Sister, leave the oppressor alone. Leave these other nations alone, man. We got 12 different flavors, man. that we have, man. These 12 different tribes, man. No heathen women, no women on this earth look better than Black, Latina, and First Nation women, man. That's the issue. When you got a lust like that for these other nations and wanting to be around them and do the things that they do, that's the problem. That goes. And this brother was supposed to be a minister. Well, let me show you what the word of God says. Let me show you what the Most High said. Read what you got, Ibad.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, and verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
The Lord said, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. What is the Lord saying here in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter? What is he saying? He's saying you're not supposed to make marriages with them. Who was the Lord talking about? Who was he talking about? Where he says, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. He's talking about the other nations. Right. He's talking about the oppressor, the Africans, the Asians, the Arabs, the Polynesians. Right. Read on.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son.
Thy daughter shall you not give unto his son. You're not supposed, you know what I mean, to give your daughter to their son. You're not supposed to do that. And that's why, you know what I mean, there's a movie out, man, about Venus and Serena's father, and I actually admire that brother for this reason. You know what I mean? So Venus and Serena both have, you know, they both married the oppressor. And they asked their father, you know what I mean, Richard, and asked him, how come you didn't go to their weddings? He said, I didn't approve of that. I didn't raise them that way. He said, the white man is my enemy and I am his. He hates me. I hate him. I said, man, get that brother a flyer. Because he understands something, man, which is heavy. And the Lord said this. It says, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Somebody should have told that to Martin Luther King. He was a minister, a so-called, you know what I mean? Down there in the Southern Belt. He was a minister. And the Bible says, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. You ain't supposed to marry these heathens, man. Read on.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son.
You're not supposed to give your daughter unto his son. You're not supposed to marry your daughter off to the oppressor's son, or the African son, or the East Indian son, or any other Asian son, or Arab son. We ain't supposed to do that. We ain't supposed to make marriages with these other nations, man, because sex is marriage, man. Right. And for those of you out there that's out there having irresponsible sex, you know what I mean, having that lust in your head and your wicked mind, guess what? You're not supposed to go out there and be a whoremonger. Black, Latina, First Nation woman, you're not supposed to be a whore. Right. Because sex is marriage according to the Most High, man, according to God in His Bible, man. Read on.
Nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Listen, I know I'm about to break the heart of every brother out there. But you're not supposed to take their daughters neither. You're not supposed to take Becky, Susan, Agnes, Agatha. You ain't supposed to do that. You ain't supposed to marry their daughters, black man, Latino man, First Nation man. You're not supposed to marry the daughters of these heathen, man. Right. That's what the Lord said. The Lord is against interracial marriage. I had some stupid. I had this lost brother, getting better. I had this lost brother on Clubhouse tell me, well, you know what I mean? God loves everybody. You know what I mean? It's all right to intermarry. I'm like, brother, no, it's not. God is against interracial marriage, man. The Lord is against it. Read on.
Verse 4. For they will turn away thy son from following me.
Read that again for me, Baba Kushal.
For they will turn away thy son from following me.
They will turn away your son from following me. You go up there and marry these heathen women, you ain't going to listen. That's what you don't understand. This is what you don't understand. And Captain Zariak made this very clear, man, and it's heavy. When you go out there and you marry the oppressor's daughter, or you marry, you know what I mean, some heathen woman, you become her pet. Right. You do. And your mind is turned away from the God of Israel. Now you're focused on Caesar Borgia. Now you talk about Assalamu alaikum. Come on, black man, Latino man, First Nation man. We got to do better than this, man. We have to be better than that, man. Because the Lord is saying, you know what I mean, you marry these heathen, they're going to turn away your mind from following him. An example of that, Solomon. There's no king wiser than Solomon. But even outlandish women, quoting Nehemiah the 13th, you know what I mean, chapter, caused him to sin. marrying these heathens, man.
Right.
And the Lord is telling us right here in Deuteronomy, you know what I mean, the 7th chapter and the 4th verse, that, you know what I mean, you marrying these heathen, having sex with them, your mind is going to be turned away from following the Most High, man.
Right.
Read on.
Okay. That they may serve other gods.
Now you serving other gods. Now you're serving the oppressor. Now the oppressor is your God. You may not understand this, but you will. If you can't stop sleeping with the oppressor's daughter, guess what? Now the oppressor has become your God. You can't stop laying with the Africans. Now you in Egyptology. Now, you know what I mean? Now you think you're the Black Panther. You with Nunfutu and Nangala. Now, you know what I mean? Now you think you are Arab. A lot of you silly Negroes out here in Philadelphia, man, think you Arab. Now you talk about Barzal. Don't call me Maul no more. I'm Abdul Rahim Suleiman Khalid Ahmed the Magnificent, brother. You're going to address me by my real name, not that white man's name. Here's the problem, brother. You traded one slave master for another. Now you don't have a white daddy. Now the Arab man is your daddy, following after them, chasing after their women, chasing after the Quran, which is toilet paper. Man. Your mind is turned away from following the Most High because you want to go and lay with these heathen nations, man. We can't do that no more. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Don't be like Michael Luther King. Don't be like him. You can't be like this, brother, man. Reading on. Why you can't do it? Let's read on.
Of God. That they may serve other gods.
Mm-hmm.
So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly.
The anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. Let me tell you something, man. Man. Listen, our God is slow to anger, man. And you got to understand, when the Lord destroy you, you're going to be messed up. You think you messed up in the game right now? When the Lord come after you, you done. It's over with, buddy.
Right.
You can forget about it. That's how heavy it is, man. This angers the Most High. It really does. Because we're not choosing one another. Like, sis, you're not choosing that black man. Like, brother, it's time to love that black woman again. Latino man, it's time to love that Latino woman. First Nation man, it's time to love that First Nation woman, man. Like Barzal Recall always say, we got 12 different flavors. You don't got to go out there and get some oppressor. Right. You don't got to go and get his daughter or get some African or some Asian. You ain't got to do all that. Because the Lord said that he is against it. And it makes the Lord angry. And the Lord's anger is killing against us, man. You see what we in. We in captivity right now. We suffering after the curses right now because we disobeyed our God. We have no idea, man, who we are. We don't. Have no idea, following after the oppressor, following after their laws, statutes, and commandments, eating up everything that they regurgitate to us. Like, they exalt men like this. They'll exalt this brother. They'll exalt Martin Luther King. Say, oh, he was a great man. But it goes to show you. Man. Even, you know what I mean, with the oppressor saying that, what happened to him? They end up, you know what I mean, offing him anyway, which was judgment from the Most High. And I'm going to show it to you in the Bible. Because you got to understand something, man. And it's something that Martin Luther King didn't understand, something that Malcolm X didn't understand, is how great a people we really are because the Lord chose us. And I'm about to go into it a little further. Let's keep reading. Read verse 5.
Okay. Verse 5.
This is what we supposed to do, you know what I mean, when it comes to these heathens, man. Read on.
But thus shall ye deal with them.
The Lord say, thus shall ye deal with them. Meaning, this is how we're supposed to deal with them. Read on.
Ye shall destroy their altars.
When it says ye shall destroy their altars, right? That's what we got to understand, man. These altars today, when you go over to the Christian church and the Muslim mosque or wherever you go to, you know what I mean, or whatever mosque you go, whatever gathering you go to, you know what I mean, under the banner of a different God, you got to break that down, man. You got to destroy it. Not physically destroy it in today's society, but you got to take your mind out of it. Take your mind out of the Christian church. Take your mind out of that Muslim mosque, man. Take your mind out of Egyptology. Read on.
Right. And break down their images.
Break down their images. You know what break down their images is? If you got a picture of Caesar Borgia, if you got a picture of of the oppressor, Caesar Borgia, who they say is Jesus Christ, but Jesus Christ was a black man like you and me, black man, Latino man and woman. Take that Caesar Borgia and throw him out the window. Throw him out the window. I mean, you got a Quran, you know what I mean? Put it to its proper use. You run out of Scotch or Charmin's toilet paper, use the pages in that Quran.
Right.
You got a Buddha, take that Buddha, you know what I mean, and throw him outside. Right. Small, like side note, we was in New York for the New York cookout. Like Baja, y'all remember. You know what I mean? We was out there in New York. We was in an Airbnb. We walked into the room, Barzal, and here's this statue of Buddha just sitting right there on the nightstand. And I was like, yep, he got to go. Right. He probably still under the bed, I buy. He probably still under the bed. That's what you got to do. Right. Take their gods, man, and take them out, man. Take them out of your mind. Throw them away. Cast them down. Right. Read on.
And cut down their groves.
And cut down their groves, man. Read on.
And burn their graven images with fire.
Meaning, take all of these idols, man. Take Caesar Borgia, take Allah, Buddha, Shiva, all of them different gods, man, and get rid of them. Right. Get rid of them. Because they ain't nothing, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Why is our God telling us this? Why is our God telling us? You know what I mean? This is during the time, you know what I mean, when we was coming out of Egypt. You know, we was passing through, you know what I mean? Going, you know what I mean, back to our home, going back to Zion. Why is the Lord telling us to do this to these other nations, you know what I mean, and their groves and their altars and their false images, man, their graven images? Why do we have to do this today, man, with taking the Christianity and Islam and all of these other different religion sects out of our mind? I'm going to tell you why the Lord said to do it. Read verse 6. And that's where you at, too.
Come. Verse 6. For thou art a holy people.
There go that word again. Look at that word holy again. It says, for thou art a holy people. Now, we know holy ain't your grandma or auntie with that feathered hat on. We know that holy means to be separate, set apart. Hell, even the Bible, it's called the Holy Bible, meaning this was set apart for us. This is the separate Bible. This ain't for everybody. These records right here, man, contain the records of blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women, the real Jews of antiquity, right. The real Israelites, man. Read on.
Unto the Lord thy God.
We are a separate people unto the Lord thy God. Read on.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
The Most High chose blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women to be a special people unto himself. If you understood, man, that fellow black and Latino man and woman was special, that fellow First Nation man and woman suffering on them concentration camps, I refuse to call them reservations. They were not made to preserve the Seminole Indian. They were not made to preserve the First Nation man and woman. They are modern day concentration camps that the tribe of Gad and Reuben live on today. And we are a special people, man. The Mexicans at the border, them Guatemalans and Hondurans of the tribe of Issachar and Zebulons of Balawan in the Hebrew, they are God's chosen people, man. Right. That black and Latino man and woman that's suffering in the ghettos of North, South, and Southwest Philadelphia, and Harlem, and Trenton, New Jersey, and Los Angeles, and Detroit, and Flint, Michigan, we are God's special people, man. Wow. And we have to look at our fellow brothers and sisters, man, like they are special. And you know what would happen? We would have no more crime. Right. We wouldn't murder one another, man. Hell, we wouldn't murder our children. And what is murdering your children? Having abortions, man. We wouldn't do that. You wouldn't sell drugs, period, black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman. You wouldn't use drugs. You would understand, man, that fellow black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman is special because God said so. That is what the Lord said about us, man. Ain't nothing special about the oppressor. Ain't nothing special about the heathens. They special in this. They slow. That's the type of special they are, especially Moab. Right. Especially Moab by Biden and Ammon. They real slow. Genetically, physically, and you know what I mean? And according to our God, man. Right. Understand this. The Lord said, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God, a separate people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God have chosen thee to be a special people. Most High chose us to be special. Latino man, First Nation man and woman, black man and woman. And it's about time that we start acting like it. It's about time that we start treating each other accordingly. Read them.
above all people,
above some people,
above all people,
above all people. Blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women are what I bought
above all people.
Shalom. We are above all people. Not some people, not a little bit of people, but all people. Read on.
That are upon the face of the earth.
We are above all people that are upon the face of the earth, man. We are above all people that is upon the face of the earth. That's what we got to realize as the Lord's chosen people, man. That we are above all people. And which is heavy about it, Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. We always have been told, right? We've been told forever. We've been told forever, you know what I mean, that we are the worst, that we are the scum of the earth, that we're criminals, that we're evil, and all of this other garbage, which is a lie. Which is a lie, man. We are God's chosen people, the greatest people on this earth, man. We are the greatest people on this earth, Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. And now it's about time that we start to act like it. Now is the time that we realize, man, that we are the Lord's chosen people. We are the Israelites of antiquity.
Right.
And that now is the time to realize, man, that we are above these other nations. We are above Trump. We are above Biden. We are above these heathens, man. If I could, let me get Deuteronomy chapter 13 and start at verse 1. Let me get Deuteronomy 13 and verse 1, Baba Quashaw. Again, this is the Isupk. We saw out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. Now, if you have any questions, make sure you type them in. I'll be answering your questions today. But let's read Deuteronomy chapter 13 and verse 1. I buy Baba Quashaw.
Oh God. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13 and verse 1. If there arise among you a prophet.
If there arise you a prophet. Now, this is what the Lord said, man, about if there arise you a certain prophet. Read on.
Or a dreamer of dreams.
Or a what?
Dreamer of dreams.
Or a dreamer of dreams, man. Who is that dreamer of dreams? Let's put it back on the screen. This is your dreamer of dreams right there. Martin Luther King. The Lord said, there arise thee a prophet or a dreamer of dreams. What was Michael Luther King famous for? That I have a dream speech.
Right.
That's what he's famous for. And the Lord said, if there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams. Read on.
And give thee a sign or a wonder.
What is the sign or the wonder? The sign or the wonder was, you know what I mean, how he spoke, on how he was able to gather, you know what I mean, so many of our people, so many of Blacks and Latinos together and march on Washington with the Civil Rights Movement. That was an amazing sign. That many people. Can you imagine, Barzal, that many people got together and decided to come to class and come into this truth? Good night. But you'll get together for Christianity, though. You'll get together for Egyptology and Islam.
Right.
Read on.
Verse 2. And the sign or the wonder come to pass.
Now, the sign or the wonder come to pass. It came to pass. It came to pass. It came to pass, you know what I mean? And he decided to go out there, you know, be at the forefront at the Civil Rights Movement, get all our people riled up and together. And let me just say something real quick, and which is so sad, and it's important for us to realize this. What they did, right, for that bus boycott in Montgomery was incredible. The fact that no Black or Latinos was riding that bus and how much money the oppressor was losing. But here's the problem, Ibad. What came after that? Did we get our own bus? No, we didn't. We didn't. We did all that For what? We did all that for what? Nothing. Nothing. Which is sad. Like here in Philadelphia, SEPTA is king of transportation. You mean to tell me, as blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women, we couldn't have came together and not just in the state of Pennsylvania, different states, and have our own transportation companies,
Right.
our own buses, our own trains? We couldn't do that? Yeah, we could. We gave the Christian church $800 billion. 800 billion and counting. We have money. It's just going to men like Martin Luther King. It funded the wrong thing. You're funding your pastor's lifestyle today. Reading on.
Of God. Whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods.
Let us go after other gods. Now, this dreamer is saying, let us go after other gods. How did this dreamer say, let's go after other gods? I had a dream that one day, little black boys and little white girls, you know what I mean, could drink from that little black boys and little black girls can drink from the river of prosperity. That can join hand in hand with the oppressor. Crazy, ain't it?
Right.
When in reality, you're going after other gods. You're going after the oppressor.
Right.
You're going after their gods. You see what he did? He went after the oppressor's woman. Hell, even Moab goes to show you just as smiling, just as happy as can be. Listen, man, like Jackie Kennedy, JFK's wife, had released tapes. You know what I mean? And they had these tapes under wraps because Michael Luther King got caught. Martin Luther King got caught in a hotel. You know what I mean? With white whores. And not just white whores, you know what I mean? Men too. Good night, I bud. And said, you know what I mean? I'm like, call me a nigga tonight. That's your king. That's your king. And that's the man that was supposed to be a great leader for blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women? No. We have to realize, man, that our leaders have failed us.
Right.
That's why it's saying in Deuteronomy 13 and verse 3, verse 2 at the end, it says he's saying, let's go after other gods. Read on.
Of God. Whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods.
He's telling us, let's go after other gods. Let's follow after the oppressor. That's you following after other gods. Read on.
Which thou hast not known.
Which thou hast not known. We haven't known these other gods, man. We ain't known these other gods. And that's the problem, man, is blacks and Latinos. Too busy following after the oppressor and their gods, following after the Africans and their gods, following after the East Indians and their gods. That's the problem. Right. And the Lord spoke about this, man. You got to beware of charlatans, man. Read on.
And let us serve them.
And saying, let us serve them. Let us go after other gods and let us serve them. Read on.
Verse 3. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams.
The Lord said we should not listen to that prophet. We shouldn't listen to that dreamer of dreams. We were not supposed to listen to Martin Luther King.
Right.
We were not supposed to listen to him, man. That's the problem. He said, you know what I mean, God loved everybody. He wanted little black boys and little white girls, you know what I mean, to be together so he could marry the oppressor's daughter. Before he met Coretta Scott King, he was with the oppressor's daughter, and they told him it'd be a bad look. You know what I mean? If you to be with, you know what I mean, the oppressor, for you to be with Susan or Becky. That's why he went out there and got Coretta, man. And it's a shame, too, man. It's a shame because our people revere him. You're getting ready to celebrate. You're getting ready to, you know what I mean, to celebrate this man, to celebrate, you know what I mean, MLK Day. You know what I mean? Revere him like he's some type of God. And he's not. He's not. The Lord said we should not hearken unto that dreamer of dreams, man. We should not hearken unto that prophet, meaning not listen to him. Read on.
Okay. For the Lord your God proveth you.
For the Lord your God proveth you. What does that mean, man? That's so heavy. That is heavy. For the Lord your God proveth you. What does that mean? You want to take a stab at it, iPod?
Khan.
Go ahead.
The Lord needs to see us willing to serve Him and not go off serving other gods.
I'll take it, man, which is heavy too, because which is heavy. What you're saying, iPod. The Lord said that we should not have no other gods before Him.
Khan.
And you got to be proven. Also, meaning you got to prove yourself. It's the same thing, you know what I mean, coming into this truth. Like, and that's the main issue, you know what I mean, if I could, the sidebar with a lot of our brothers in the world, starting fake camps, different Israelite groups. I understand, but here's the problem. The Lord proves us, man. The Lord proved the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge. He sent his prophets back in 1969. You know what I mean? You come in here, you got to prove yourself. Not to us, but to the Most High, that you belong. That you willing, you know what I mean, to do what the Lord said to do. So are you going to come into this truth? Are you going to come into this truth and change your life? To stop smoking weed, stop messing with whores, to stop eating tuna? Or are you going to continue to say, well, you know, my life is just, it ain't going, you know, I'm going through it right now, which I never understood, Barzo. If you're going through anything, tribulation, going through hard times, it comes on everybody. Why not come, you know what I mean, and get assistance, work on yourself, man, you know what I mean, and shed yourself for that old man and get help from the Most High. To come in here, you know what I mean, to come into this truth and change your life. Maybe because, you know what I mean, those things are happening to you, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, it's because you're not doing what the Lord said to do. Because you're too busy wanting to follow after this philosophy. You want to follow after that. You want to be an Egyptologist. You want to be a Christian. You want to be a Muslim. You know, I was listening to Captain Zariak today. You know what I mean? He was saying that Jabari. I didn't know this. Jabari is a Kemetic priest and Catholic priest. I said, well, goddamn, he's two different types of homosexual, two different types of pedophile. That's the problem. Shalom, sir, Lord of Christ, sir. That's the issue, man. That's the problem. You have to realize this, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. The Lord proves us, man. Most High Yahweh proves us. Now is the time to come in and get yourself together. Read on.
For the Lord your God proveth you to know whether ye love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul.
And which is heavy, man. You got to love the Most High with all your heart, with all your soul. Your heart meaning your mind. This right here, all this does is pump blood. Your heart is your mind, man. You got to love the Most High with all your mind and all your soul, with everything in you. You got to love the Most High, man. Read on.
Verse 4. Ye shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him.
You shall walk. Read that again.
Ye shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him.
You should walk after the Lord your God and to fear him. What does it mean to walk after the Lord, man? What does it mean to walk after the Lord? Hold that. Arzal, give me Deuteronomy 8 and 6. Yeah, Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 6. What does it mean to walk after the Most High, man? I'll show it to you. Read it when you got it, Bubba. Show it, please.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8 and verse 6. Therefore, thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God.
Keeping the commandments of the Lord thy God, man, is essential. That is the entire duty of blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. Keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
To walk in his ways.
To what?
To walk in his ways.
To walk in the Lord's ways, man, is keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Read on.
And to fear him.
And to fear him. Walking after the Most High, man, and after his ways is keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, and you must fear the Most High. You have to fear the Most High, man. Meaning this, man. The Lord is the one that said he could kill the body in hell. You know what I mean? You know, on earth and in hell, man. The Lord can really mess you up, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Fear the Most High. The problem is you fear the oppressor. You fear these other nations, man, when you need to fear our God, man. Let's go back to where you were, Ibad.
Oh God. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13 and verse 4. Ye shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him and keep his commandments.
And keep his commandments, man. That's what you have to do. That is how you walk after the Most High. Read on.
And obey his voice, and ye shall serve him.
And ye shall serve him and cleave unto him. That's how you serve the Most High, man, by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. And we read it earlier, man. It's unlawful to sleep with white whores, man. It's unlawful to do what Martin Luther King did, man. To do what your pastor is doing, your imam. Read on, Ibad.
Verse 5. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams.
Now, and that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, read on. That told you this garbage. Read on.
Shall be put to death.
Shall be what?
Put to death.
What happened to Martin Luther King?
Put to death.
That prophet or that dreamer of dreams was put to death. Why? Read on.
Because he has spoken to turn you away from the Lord your God.
From the Lord your God, meaning he's our God, man.
Right.
He's our God, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. The Lord is our Father, like Christ said, which art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. He's our Father. He's our God, man. And Martin Luther King, man, wanted to turn us away from our God by integrating with America and loving the oppressor and the oppressor's daughter and loving him, man. That's why the Lord put him to death, man. You got to understand, man. May that brother rise again and come back into this truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? To come up the correct way, the right way, the one West way.
Right.
That's why the Lord sent his prophets back in 1969, man. It's a lot of nonsense going on, man. And the Lord said, you know what? In 69, I'm going to send my prophets back.
Right.
And show, you know what I mean, our people, you know what I mean, how it's supposed to be done.
Right.
Now, if I could, we can drop that. We get Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 1.
Okay.
Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 1. Show.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23 and verse 1. Woe be unto the pastors.
What is woe, man? Woe meaning destruction. The Lord is saying destruction be unto the pastors. Why is the Lord saying destruction be unto the pastors? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why destruction is coming to the pastors. Because the pastors have lied to our people. They told us that God loves everybody. Jesus Christ died for everybody's sins. Well, that's not true. Christ died for blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. The Most High Yahweh does not love everybody, man. He said that he had a separate people, a special people, and that was blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. Read on.
And scatter woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture.
That destroy and scatter the sheep of my pastors. That's what happened, man. They've scattered the sheep of my pasture. Why is the Lord equating us to sheep? Why is the Lord calling us sheep? I'll tell you why. Because sheep require a shepherd.
Right.
And these pastors, man, have failed us. Lucky. Bear with us 1 second. My bad, hit the table a little hard. That's on me, Israel. The water again, Barzo. So, I'll let you know when it's up a little bit. Perfect. That is perfect, priest. I appreciate it. The Lord said this, man. Said, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture. We are the sheep of the Lord's pasture, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. And we've been scattered. We in this church. We in that fake Israelite group. We in that Muslim mosque. We out here in Egyptology. We in the 5% nation. When every black, Latino, First Nation man and woman should be in the Isupk, man, just trying to change their life, shedding themselves of that old man and becoming the man that the Most High intended us to become, man. Read on.
Saith the Lord, verse 2. Therefore, thus saith saith the Lord God of Israel.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, the God of blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, the nigger God. Read on.
Against the pastors that feed my people.
And against your Creflo Dollars, your Geno Jennings, your Martin Luther Kings. Read on.
Ye have scattered my flock.
Ye have scattered my flock. You have scattered my people, man. Read on.
And driven them away.
And driven them away. Driven us away, man. Read on.
And have not visited them.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing.
The Lord said, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings. Good night. Meaning the evil that these pastors have done, that these imams have done, the Lord said he was going to visit them.
Right.
I pray you understand. Now, if I could, I drop down to verse 25. Read Jeremiah 23 and verse 25, Bubba Pashon.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23 and verse 25. I have heard what the prophet said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed. I have dreamed.
Wait a minute. What did the Lord say? He said, I have heard what the prophet said, that prophesy lies in my name. He said, I heard what this prophet said. I heard what they said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying that God loves everybody, saying it's okay to sleep with the oppressor's daughter. Who does that sound like? And it said, what? Saying, I have what?
Say, I have dreamed. I have dreamed.
I have dreamed. I have dreamed. It's another one talking about Martin Luther King, man. Saying, I heard, man, with the prophets that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, that prophesy lies in my name, man. We got to realize that we have been lied to as blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man. This is why, man, we are destroyed, man. We destroyed for that. The Lord said we are destroyed for a lack of knowledge because we don't understand that following men like Martin Luther King is wrong. Martin Luther King will have us believe, right, that God is for everybody, that God loves the oppressor, God loves Africans, God loves, you know what I mean? But here's my question. Doesn't God love that black man? Doesn't he love that Latino man, that First Nation man and woman? You know what I mean? The men and women, the real, you know what I mean, of Israel, the real Israelites. Doesn't the Lord love us? Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman? Yes. And he loved us so much that he chose us and separated us from everybody. But here's something that pastors don't understand. Here's something that Martin Luther King doesn't understand. And which goes to show you, man, on why the ISUPK is essential. Why, you know what I mean? It's important for us to realize, man, we're going to go into some history tonight. Let me show you a strong brother that stood up for our people, the opposite of Martin Luther King. Right. Now, this brother, right, the brother that we're getting ready to read about, this brother could have compromised. Him and everybody in Israel could have said, hey, let us go join with these Africans. But you know what they did? They went to war. How could I buy? Let me get 1 Samuel, the 17th chapter.
Okay.
Let me get 1 Samuel, the 17th chapter. Let me show you a real leader in Israel, man, a righteous man, a righteous king of Israel. Let's go on to King David for a minute. You know, I was going over this earlier, and I said, man, I got to break this out because it's heavy. It's heavy. If I could, let me get 1 Samuel 17, right? And I want you to start at verse, start at verse 20. Start at 1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 23.
Okay. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17 and verse 23. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion.
Now, as a matter of fact, read verse 20. Read verse 23.
Okay. This is the book.
Now, start at verse 21, Baba Kishore. Salaki.
Okay. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17 and verse 21. Mm-hmm. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array. army against army.
Now, the Philistines, right, are the Africans. Philistines, man, would be so-called Hamites today, Canaanites. They believe they'd be the so-called South Africans today. Reading on.
Okay. Verse 22. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brother.
Let me understand something about David, man. King David was a hardcore brother.
Right.
Was a hardcore brother, man. And this is shortly after he got anointed king. Now, David is the official king of Israel in the Lord's eyes. But he's going, you know what I mean, to Saul, who was king of Israel, man, who lost his seat because he disobeyed the Most High, disobeying orders. Now, David realized, man, we going to war with the Philistines, and he ran out the carriage to go salute his brothers, man. To go and say, yeah, y'all about to your thumb. You know what I mean? Giving a salute. Read on.
Come. Verse 23. And he talked with them. Behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name.
Now, this African came up, the champion of the Philistines, the champions of these Africans came up, Goliath. Read on.
Come out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them.
Now, this African came up talking crazy against us, man. Talking crazy against our people. Now we're about to read. Did David go up to this African? Did he go up to Goliath and say, hey, shalom, Goliath. You know, maybe we should integrate. Maybe, man, as Israel and Philistia, you know what I mean, in Palestine, maybe we should live together in peace and harmony. You know what I mean? I had a dream, Goliath. Maybe we should just come together, you know what I mean, and we be all right. We're going to find out what David said to this Hamite, man. Read on.
Verse 24. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him.
Now, and all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him. When they saw Goliath, man, these Israelites right here, these brothers, man, had fear in their heart, man. They saw this big African and fled from him. Picture, picture Joel Embiid today. Picture a Hamite about 7 feet tall, 7'2", Akeem Olajuwon, you know what I mean, Dikembe Mutombo. Picture that. I know. Read on.
Okay. And were sore afraid.
And they was afraid of this Hamite, man. Read on.
Verse 25. And the men of Israel said, have ye seen this man?
Let me tell you something, Barzo. This is one of them scriptures, man, that made me realize, man, that blacks and Latinos, we really are the Israelites of antiquity. Like, we saw this Hamite. We saw this big African and got amongst ourselves like, yo, hey, Bob, you seen this big motherfucker? You seen this big Hamite? Like, Bob saw this motherfucker like 7 foot. I ain't fighting him. You know?
So God, that is come up. Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel.
Now, Saul was going to do this. Saul was like, whoever kills that champion of the Philistines, whoever kills that big African, you get to marry my daughter. You ain't got to worry about you ain't got to worry about, you know what I mean, being a servant or nothing like that, being in poverty. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna be broke no more. You're gonna be well taken care of, whoever kills that African. Now, but you're gonna understand at this time a lot of our people were so afraid, man. Like, you got brothers out there as far as all that was like, man, Saul's daughter ain't that fine for me to go out there and do that. But this is what you're gonna understand about King David. King David was different. King David was different. He was built different. King David was one West. And we're gonna read about what he said. Read on.
God. Verse 26. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine?
He said, what's going to be done to kill him again? What's going to happen? Read on.
And taketh away the reproach from Israel.
And taketh away the reproach from Israel. Read on.
For who is this uncircumcised Philistine?
This is what I love, man, about King David, man, to show you that he was a black man. David is talking trash like Bob.
Right.
He's like, who is he? Like, everybody's so afraid, scared. Talking about, yeah, Saul's daughter ain't that fine. I ain't about to risk my life. David's that brother out there. That's like, who is he? What y'all afraid of? What y'all scared of, man? Who is he? He said, who is this uncircumcised African? Who the hell does he think he is? Read on. David got offended, man.
Right.
Read on.
That he should defy the armies of the living God.
That he should what?
That he should defy the armies of the living God.
Who shall defy the armies of the living God? He said, who the hell does he think he is? He think he's going to defy the army of the living God, the army of Yahweh. See how hardcore David was? David wasn't afraid. David wasn't trying to join together with him, Barzal. He wasn't trying to say, well, you know, Goliath, I had this dream that we could come together. No. David was hardcore, man. He was one West. Read on, iPod.
Come. Verse 27. And the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that killeth him.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 28. And
you could drop down to verse 32.
Verse 32. And David said to Saul.
Now, this is what David said to Saul, man, and which goes to show you how hardcore David was. Read on.
Let no man's heart fail.
He said, let no man's heart fail. Don't let nobody be afraid of this African. Because guess what? Read on.
Because of him, thy servant will go.
He said, thy servant will go. He said, they ain't got to worry about risking their life going to go fight Goliath. Guess what? I'm going to handle this, sir. He said, Salakia, sir, I'm going to handle this. And let me explain something to you fake Israelites out there, and which is so heavy about what David just did. And I don't think y'all understand what David did. And it shows how heavy rank and order is. David is technically king of Israel. He was anointed king of Israel, man. Saul messed up. But the Lord said in Psalms, thou shalt not touch my anointed. David shouldn't try to usurp him and say, well, I'm the rightful king, I got anointed. He understood Saul was anointed too. We're going to go into that next week.
Right.
So, further into that on how Saul messed up and how David, became, officially the king of Israel in everybody's eyes. But in the Lord's eyes, David is already king. But right. David is still giving reverence to Saul. He says, Salakia, sir, let thy servant go. You see the humility of David? You see how different, and it kills me that y'all can go out there and teach y'all garbage. That David right now has authority and rank according to the Most High. But he's saying, let thy servant go. David understood rank and order, man. He said, nah, Adawan, I got this. But that's too much for a lot of y'all out there in the world, man. That's a little too rough, Ibad, to be like, Khan Adawan Khan, sir. David said, don't let my brothers be afraid of this African, my Lord. Let thy servant go. Let me go. Read on.
And fight with this Philistine. Mm-hmm. Verse 33. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him.
Now Saul was like, David, I love you, David, but you can't go toe-to-toe with Goliath. You can't beat him. Read on.
For thou art but a youth.
He said, but thou art but a youth. David was a young man, man. David was a young brother at the time. Read on.
And he a man of war from his youth. And
he said, man, this Hamite been a man of war from his youth. He's been a warrior for a long time. He been going to war for a minute. You're still a kid, David. You're still young. Read on.
Verse 34.
Listen to what David said to Saul. Read on.
And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep.
He said, hold on, Salakia, sir. Thy servant has kept his father's sheep. Because David was a sheep herder, man. Read on.
And there came a lion and a bear.
Woo! David said, I'm a bearer of sheep, sir. I'm a bearer of sheep. And guess what? A lion and a bear came out, man. And did what? Read on.
and took a lamb.
And took a lamb. A lion and a bear came out and took a lamb. Let me ask y'all a question, especially y'all in the fake Israelite groups. If you out there herding sheep, right, and a lion and a bear come out and take one of them lambs, you're gonna be like, Shalom. You know what I mean? I still got other lambs. I'm good. I'm gonna let him have it. Let's see what David did. Read on.
Out of the flock.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 35. And I went out after him.
David said, I went out after him. David said, I went out after him. Read on.
And smote him.
And did what?
Smote him.
And smote him, man. David said, I went out there and smote him. Read on.
And delivered it out of his mouth.
And delivered it out of his mouth. Read on.
And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him.
Do you know what that means? Do you know how heavy that is? David, you know what it means when he said went up against his beard? Go ahead.
He was up close and personal with him.
He was up close and personal with him. Now, you know how big lions are? He grabbed that lion by his mane, by the mane, and was like, yup, right to the jugular. You're dead. You're done. Read on. That's how hardcore David was.
Oh, God.
Got up, like Ibah said, up close and personal with them, man. When a lot of y'all would have just let them sheep be. You'd just be like, oh, you know what? That lamb is gone. He dead, Slice. But not David. Right. David was different. David was one of us. Read on.
Verse 36. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear.
Man, he said, I slew both the lion and the bear. Basically, David is telling Saul, he's like, my Lord, don't worry about this African. Just last week I killed a lion and a bear. He ain't nothing. That's basically what he said. Like, look, I just took down a lion and a bear like a couple days ago. So he ain't nothing. This light work, my Lord. Let me handle this. Read on.
And this uncircumcised Philistine.
And this, David's still talking shit. I mean, Salaki, David's still talking trash. Salaki for the language. David's still talking that trash. You know how Judites is. You know how we can get. David's still like, and this, I know he pointed at it too, like, you know, Barzal, I know he was pointing at it. He said, yeah, this uncircumcised Philistine. But why I buy? Might have to position it a little better. Spread the legs a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. He said, in this uncircumcised Philistine, pointing at him. Yeah, that should be all right. You sure ain't one leg ain't longer than the others?
One was.
Oh, one was. Oh, okay. That's probably what it was. All right, but here's the thing. He said, in this uncircumcised Philistine, pointing at him. I know he pointed at Goliath too. It was like, yeah, him? That uncircumcised Philistine? Guess what? Read on.
Come. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17, and verse
36 in the middle.
Verse 36. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them.
Shall be what?
As one of them.
He said, yeah, he just going to be one of them lions and bears that I just killed. That ain't nothing. Light work. Read on.
Seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God.
He defied the armies of the living God, man. Disrespected us, man. Disrespected the Most High. Right. Disrespected our God, Yahweh, man. Read on.
Verse 37. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear.
David said, the same God, our God, Yahweh, the same one that delivered me out of the hand of the lion, the paw of the lion, and the paw of the bear, the same God that delivered me from that lion and that bear, guess what? Read on.
He will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine.
He shall deliver me out of the hand of this African, man. Read on.
And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee.
Saul said, man, go ahead, Og, you got it. Let the Lord be with you. Now, Drop down to verse 41.
Verse 41. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David.
As a matter of fact, read verse 39. Read verse 39, Baba Kusho.
Verse 39. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he assayed to go, for he had not proved it.
Now, verse 33, it says, Saul armed David with his armor and put a helmet of brass upon his head and armed him with a coat of mail. Meaning he put the little chain mail on and put on, you know what I mean? Saul gave him his chain mail, you know what I mean, his armor and his sword, right? And David said, what? For he had not what?
For he had not proved it.
He said, listen, sir, I can't wear your armor. I'm not worthy. I'm not proven. I can't do that. That's how hard, man. That's how heavy David was, man.
Right.
Like David, you know what I mean? Listen, King David was built different. I need y'all to understand that. You know what I mean? David was an honorable brother, man.
Right.
What goes to show you, man. He said, I can't go with your armor, my Lord. I ain't proof. I'm not worthy of it. Read on.
And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him.
And David took that stuff off. He said, I don't need this, my Lord. Watch this. Read on.
Verse 40. And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook.
David took his staff and took 5 smooth stones. Read on.
And put them in a shepherd's bag, which he had.
Put them in his bag and said, all right, I'm going out just like this. Read on.
Even in a scrip, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine.
He drew near to the Philistine. He drew near unto him. You know what I mean? He getting ready to fall on him like Bob Guyver was. Read on.
Verse 41. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David.
Mm-hmm.
And the man that bare the shield went before him.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 42. And the Philistine looked about and saw David. He disdained him.
He hated David, man. He had a dislike for David, a strong dislike, man. Why did he have a disdain for David? Read on.
For he was but a youth.
For he was but a youth, man. He was but a youth. Now, disdain, the feeling that someone or something is unworthy of one's consideration or respect. He didn't respect David. He didn't feel David was worthy enough to come up against him, man.
Right.
He didn't feel our king. He didn't feel, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? King David was worthy. He didn't feel that David, you know what I mean, at the time was worthy against, you know what I mean, to go up against him. And which goes to show you, man, the arrogance of this Hamite. Read on.
And ruddy, and of a fair countenance.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 43. And the Philistine said unto David, Am I a dog?
Now, Salak, it said, for he was a youth, you know what I mean, and ruddy, and of a fair countenance. When you look ruddy up, man, ruddy's not talking about, you know what I mean, David was red, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, David was young. That's what ruddy means, man. Ruddy was David was a young brother. That's why I said he had a fair countenance. He was a kid. Read on.
Come. Verse 43. And the Philistine said unto David, Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his God.
He started trying to make fun of David. My dog, that thou comes to me with staves, and that the Philistine cursed David by his gods. Read on.
Verse 44. And the Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field.
Mm-hmm. He said, and listen, and Goliath said to David, Come to me, and I will give thee unto the flesh of the fowl, unto the flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. Meaning he thought he was going to slay David, man. He thought he was going to kill David, and the fowls of the air, the vultures, you know what I mean, and the other beasts of the field was going to feast on him. Read on.
Verse 45. Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear.
This is heavy what David's saying, man. He said, You coming towards me with a sword and a spear. Read on.
and with a shield.
And with a shield, read on.
But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts.
So David said, I am coming to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts. I'm coming to you in the name of our God, man, Yahweh. If I could, bars, I'll hold Romans 8:31. Keep reading that, God.
The God of the armies of Israel.
The God of the armies of Israel, man. Read on it, you guessing. You don't want to come up against our God, man, against our power. The Lord said he would not meet thee as a man, man. You can forget about that. That's Isaiah 47:3. Read on.
Whom thou hast defied.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 46. This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand.
David said, you don't even know Goliath, but you already lost. The Lord is going to deliver you into my hand. And David got some more trash talking that by. Read on.
And I will smite thee.
He said, I am going to smite thee. I am going to defeat you. I am going to kill you. Read on.
And take thy head from thee.
He said, I am going to take your head from thee. He said, I'm going to cut your head off. Read on.
And will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth.
He said, I am going to give your carcass and the carcass, you know what I mean, of your men unto the fowls of the air and of the beasts of the field. You got it messed up, Goliath. Guess what? You gonna be the one that's gonna die today.
Right.
You the one that's about to fall. They about to feast on you. And guess what else they gonna know? Read on.
That all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel.
That there is a what?
A God in Israel.
That there is a God in Israel, man. He said, you're going to understand, man, that there is a God in Israel. That's what you got to understand, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. We have a God, man. You don't got to listen to false prophets like Martin Luther King. You don't got to listen to your pastor or your imam, man. Right now, what you got to do is turn from your wickedness, man, and come back into this truth, come into the UPK. Our God said in Isaiah 47 and verse 3, I'm going to paraphrase it, that he will not meet thee as a man. The Lord is dealing with the oppressor right now in the form of the coronavirus, the Omicron.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? When our God is for us, as a matter of fact, now let's read on. We're going to get to that in a minute. Keep reading.
Oh, God. Verse 47. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth, not with sword and spear.
He said the Lord is, you know what I mean? You got to understand, man, and this is heavy. And it says, and all the assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear. Meaning this, you know what I mean? The weapons, you know, paraphrasing in Galatians, man. It's in Galatians, right? The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. It's Galatians 6 and 12. Yeah, Galatians 6 and 12, where it says the weapons of our warfare is not carnal, black man, Latino man, and woman. The problem is you think you're going to beat the oppressor, you know what I mean, with guns. The Lord, man, is saying, you're going to understand this. You're not going to win that way. You're not going to win that way, man. The Lord, Jesus, David is saying this, man, that you're going to know that the Lord saveth not with sword and with spear. But read on.
Oh, God.
Ephesians 6 and 12. Salah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Keep reading 1 Samuel.
Oh, God. For this is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17, and verse 47. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
He will deliver you unto our hands, saying, saveth not with sword and spear, but for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you unto our hands. Meaning the Lord is going to fight for us, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. You don't got to go out there and form, you know what I mean? You don't got to go out there and form your own militia. Go out there and join some, you know what I mean, radical Islamic group. You ain't got to do that. It's actually 2 Corinthians 10 and 4. I'll read it. It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God and pulling down the strongholds, man. You got to understand this. That our God is already fighting for us, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, with this Omicron, with this coronavirus. Now is the time for us to get right and come into the ISUPK and do what the Lord said to do and gather together and keep these commandments, man. David is saying this, man. The Lord is not, the Lord is not going to save us, not with sword and spear. For the battle is the Lord's, and he shall give you unto our hands. Read on verse 48.
Okay. Verse 48. And it came to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistines.
Now he ran towards Goliath, man. Read on.
Verse 49. And David put his hand in his bag and took thence a stone and slain him and smote the Philistine in his forehead.
Man, he pulled out that sling he had, and was twirling it and said, "Bow!" Right here. And Goliath had on armor too, and this is what was exposed, man. Hit him right there in that forehead, in that dome, and he came tumbling down. Read on.
That the stone sunk into his forehead.
Man, that dome sunk in his forehead, man. David, with that force, man, hit him deep. Read on.
And he fell upon his face to the earth.
And fell upon his face, man. That African was like, boop, right on his face. Read on.
Verse 50. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone.
David prevailed, meaning David won. He triumphed over this Philistine, man. Read on.
And smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David.
Now, he killed him. And there was no sword in his hand, man. David ain't have no sword. He just had the staff, and the sling and the stones. Read on.
Verse 51. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine and took his sword and drew it out of the sheath thereof.
He took Goliath's sword. He ran up on him, man, stood over his body, took his sword. Read on.
And slew him and cut off his head.
He cut Goliath's head smooth off with his own sword. Read on.
Therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled.
When them Africans saw that the Kembe Mutombo, that Joel Embiid was dead, they was like, no, time to go. And guess what, black man, Latino man, and woman? These are the same brothers that was afraid, man. They was afraid of this African. And they had on armor. They had their swords, but this was the difference between them and David. David was not afraid. David understood, man, at the fear of the Lord, man, the fear of the Most High, what I brought up earlier, man.
Right.
To keep the Lord's commandments and to fear him. And also this, if I could, Barzal, let me get that scripture you hold.
Oh, God. This is the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 31.
Zephaniah 2:1.
Okay.
What shall we say to these things?
What shall we say unto these things, man? Read on.
If the Most High be for us.
If God be for us, if the Most High be for us, read on.
Who can be against us?
Who can be against us? If God be for us, who can be against us? Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, man. Who can be against us? If God be for us. If the Lord is for us, man, and we doing what the Lord said to do, guess what? Who can be against us, man? The Lord said in Exodus, man, that if we hearken unto him, that he would be an adversary unto our adversaries and an enemy unto our enemies, man. If I could, man, that's heavy. We have to realize, man, that it's time for us to come back and do what our God said to do. You don't got to compromise and follow these pastors, follow these imams, follow your different conscious and fake Israelite leaders and spiritual groups, man. You don't got to do that, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. This is what we must do as blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. This is something that we have to understand as the Lord's chosen people, man. and it's heavy. If I could, right? Let me get Colossians first. Let me get Colossians. Colossians 2:8. Let me get Colossians 2:8. Yeah. That's what we got to understand as the Lord's chosen people, man. That's what we must understand.
I got you.
Come on, go ahead. You got it.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
The Lord said, beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Don't let nobody spoil you through philosophy. Don't get caught up, you know what I mean, in the philosophy of the Christian church and the Muslim mosques. Being caught up with Geno Jennings, being caught up with, Martin Luther King, caught up, you know what I mean, with T.D. Jakes. You ain't got to get caught up in that garbage, man. Lest any man spoil you. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. What is vain deceit? Meaning nothing. You're being spoiled, you know what I mean, through philosophy and knowledge, which is garbage. Vain deceit. Meaning we being lied to as blacks and Latinos, man. Read on.
After the tradition of men.
After the tradition of men. After your pastor. After your imam. Read on.
After the rudiments of the world.
After the rudiments of the world, man. That's the problem with men like Martin Luther King, wanting to follow after the oppressor in his world. When the Lord said, love not the world in 1 John 2 and verse 15, man, and neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. The love of God is not in you, man, if you're following after the philosophies of Martin Luther King or after your pastor or your imam. The love of the Father ain't in you. Read on.
And not after Christ.
And not after Christ. But what did our King tell us to do, man? Our King told us this, if I could, man, which is heavy. Our King told us that we have to love our brother, man, as Christ loved us. That's what we have to do, and keep these commandments. Now, if I could, let me get Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1, Bubba could show.
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation, not desire.
Lord said, gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation, not desired. We are not desired as blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man. We're not desired as First Nation men and women, black men and women, Latino men and women. But the Most High Yahweh desires us, man. Our King Yahweh Shah Mashiach, the greatest man that ever walked this earth, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Yahweh Shah desires us, man, our King. And the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commander General Yohana desires all blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women to come back, to gather ourselves together. And we're doing this in the Israelite School of UPK. And with that being said, I'm Priest and Officer 1000 Yediah. This is the Thursday night history class. Make sure you tune in to Black Watch every Monday. Commander General Yohana, Black Watch News, man. Commander General Yohana dropping it every Monday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. General Hazai Yun, man, dropping it every Monday morning, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Let a Hebrew speak. Ask ye the prophets with General Mayaka Allah, man, every Wednesday. General Mayak every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., man. Ask you the prophets. Send your questions in to askyoutheprophets@gmail.com. It doesn't matter if it's a question about a dream you had or about the scriptures or something in your personal life. General Mayak will answer it. Make sure you tune in, you know what I mean, Across the Line Radio tonight from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Make sure you tune in to my big brother, man, Priest and Captain at 13,000 Goodall Hall, One West Radio out there in San Bernardino, California. And with that being said, I'm going to pass the class off to Priest and Officer 1000 Barzar.
We got Officer Yediah one more hand. ISUPK security announcements. We got an ISUPK starting out at 1 West on the 25th Street, all over New York, under Commander General Yohana. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry tithes, which is a commandment. You read about this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. Also the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Isupk needs 10% in Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department. Priest fund, free will offering for the priest. Not mandatory, but so amount you would like to give. I become an holy convocation will be the Feast of Bread. You understand? I believe it falls 14th on the 14th of February. You understand? We'll read about that. Also, be prepared to come and celebrate the Lord High's Holy Day. With
Esther
that,
9 to 20
yeah, Esther 9 to 20
31.
30 to 31. You'll be able to read about the Feast of Purim. You understand? They get our black Latino Native American history. You understand? And I go out to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start to wear all black. You understand? Boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. With that being said, brothers, Imagine, which means to stand.
We'll do the Lord's Prayer.
We're going to upon Akudam, which means turn to face the east. We're going to send up the Lord's Prayer. When we send up the Lord's Prayer, we lift up our hands. So our city, which is over there in the east, Middle East, so-called Middle East, facing Jerusalem. We're going to first do the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew, then we're going to translate it into English. Repeat after me. Abinah.
Abinah.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Hayah. Shabbat. Yahweh. Blakaka. Taba'ah. Ratazayaka. Hayah. Aisha. Aratiza. Kawah. Hayah. Hashemayim. Fadiyah. Bakah. Ka. Yawah. Asalakna. Kawawakna. Kasalakna. Kawawakina. Wala'ah. Labi'ayna. On the side one. Above. China. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Sar, which means turn. Men of Israel, we're going to get a brother's courteous salute. Men of Israel, Ahmad Shabbat, Ahmad, Barak.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatham.
Yashmatah, which means hands down. Sar, which means to turn. We're going to face the sisters. Sisters Ahmad, which means to stand. You understand? Sisters Yul, Ahmad, Shabbat will be as described with your feet at a 45-degree angle. Your right hand clasped over your left. You understand? Making sure that your head is covered as well. And when we say Barak, we're going to smite your chest and you say the salute back to the brothers. All right? Men of Israel, we're going to give the sisters a courteous salute. Men of Israel, Ahmad Shabbat, Ahmad, Barak.
Yahweh Shamar Alatham Hashem Yahushua.
Yashmatah, she's hands down, class dismissed.